put it on the charger. Welcome to another hashtag Because You Matter pod, where you, the viewers, always have a seat at the table, which is why we leave it open for you. Tonight, we're kicking it off with a powerful conversation. It's centered around the heart of the home. We're talking about the women who serve both the firm foundation and the soft place to land. But before we dive into all that tonight, we want to ask you that you please like and share this video with everyone that you know. And if you know a mother who has been a firm foundation for her family, please tag her in the comments right now, because this is for her. This night is all about her. So tag her in the comments, send it to her, wherever you have to do, text it to her. Make sure she gets this, because this will bless her life. So let's give these women their flowers while they're still here, because a lot of times we wait until people die to give them the flowers, and that's not fair. We want to smell the flowers now, right? I mean, I don't like flowers, but I would like to smell the flowers now while I'm here to be able to smell them and get them in. So make sure you tag them in the comments so they can join the conversation with us tonight. We also want to honor our incredible leaders, Apostle and Pastor C. Parker, and our assistant Pastor Jay Donner. Thank you guys for all that you do for us. Thank you for the labor of love. Thank you for allowing us to have this platform to be able to talk about these real topics. All right. And last but not least, I would like to thank our guest for tonight, Sister Brittany. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And of course, the viewers, you know the drill. If you have something to say, if something spoke to you, come in the comments and we'll read it anonymously. Make sure your voice is heard. Like I said earlier, you always have a seat at the table, and we want your input. So please, if something's speaking to you, if you want to add to the conversation, I have my iPad and my phone here. So we're looking, and we're going to put you into the show. All right? So let's get into it, finally. All the housekeeping stuff is done. All right. So take a look outside. The season is shifting. Spring is officially here, or almost here. It's a little lag right now, but it's coming. We see the flowers blooming, the grass turning green. We often forget the work that happens beneath the surface to make that beauty possible. So spring isn't just about the flowers and the bees and the birds coming out. It's about the resilience of it all. It's about the seeds that survived the cold winter and pushed through the dirt to find the light. All right? And honestly, I can't think of a better picture of motherhood than that. As a mother, especially for our single mothers that's joining us tonight, you have to be both. You have to be that firm foundation that stands strong against the storms of life to keep your children safe, but you also have to be that soft place where they feel that they can come and talk to you and find grace even if they fall. It's a delicate balance, I can only imagine. It's a heavy calling, but just like spring, it's a season of incredible growth. So tonight we're going to talk about how to keep your heart soft when life has been hard, and how to stay firm when the ground feels shaky. All right, so are you ready? Let's get into it. All right, so when I was thinking about single mothers, the one word that came to me was superwoman. And I think that's a word that always describes a single mom, because you guys have to do so much.
Yeah.
So what does that word or that term mean to you personally?
It means to me somebody that does it all. You know, as you said, being super, we have to do so many things sometimes at once. You know, it's like being able to multitask and juggle and try to balance when you're doing it by yourself. So it's just having that superpower of being able to accomplish everything that you're trying to accomplish successfully.
Absolutely. And like I said, that's the one word that kept coming to me. And the first 12 years of my life, my mom was a single mother. So I've always had a very soft spot for a single mom, because my mom had 3 kids by the age of 21, doing it by herself. until my
Wow.
stepdad came when I was 12 years old.
Mhm.
But for the majority of it, my mom, I always seen her working.
Mhm.
As a kid, I never really understood why I couldn't see her as much, is because she had to provide for us. She
Right.
had to do both the nurture and the provider. And she had, I know she told me, like, we talk about things now, and she said she had like 3 jobs when we were growing up just to make ends meet. So it's no woman should have to do this, but being able to do that and provide for your children, that's just something that is worthwhile.
Right.
And like you said, it can be tiring and it's just a lot, but you do it because of the love that you have to give, especially for your kids.
When I think of a single mom, we sacrifice a
Yeah.
lot,
Mhm.
you know, because we never get that me time.
Yeah.
You know, because we're always doing something for someone else, especially, you know, for our kids.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times we don't, some of the single moms don't have that extra help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it just all depends, but it's still not easy regardless, because we always have to be the one that step up.
Yeah. Yeah. And now that we're talking about that firm foundation and stepping up, I would like to pose a question to you as well as our viewers. So if you want to put your answers down below, let me know so we can read them and all that. So the question I want to pose to everyone is, since we're talking about the firm foundation today, I would love to know who or what was that foundation for you growing up?
Oh, my mother and my grandmother for sure. My mom, I've seen her sacrifice a lot. After leaving, you know, my father, she was a single mom for a while before she met my stepdad that she, you know, she's still with.
Yeah.
So just watching her and seeing how she built her foundation, you know, with me, and then adding on my stepfather and then my sister, you know, it was amazing. And the same thing with my grandmother. My grandmother had 15 kids.
15.
I don't know how she did it. She had 15 kids. She was married,
was busy.
but her husband. They were married. They were very busy.
Yeah.
But you know, once they separated, she did it all by herself, and to have one of her children handicapped, like he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk. You know, he was disabled, arms, you know, legs, you know, weren't formed correctly. So I seen her do it, you know, all by herself and everything, but she stood strong, she stood firm. So I've watched 2 strong women, along with my aunts and everything, that you know, raised their kids by themselves, build a strong foundation for all of us. So
well, shout out to grandma, because that's not an easy task,
Right.
and a lot of people did that, like, and I've always been like so like interested in it, because that's a lot.
It is.
Even in my family, both of my grandmothers, they had between 9 to 10 kids each on each side, and I'm just like, that is so amazing. Like, if I could, I probably would, but it's like, that's a lot, especially, you know, like you said, like, you know, her being separated at one point and her having to do it all by herself. That is the word. If I don't know what the word resilience is, that is resilience like no other.
Yes.
So I want to just throw this out there. As of 2024 and 2025, there are approximately 9.8 million single parent households in the U.S., and roughly 75 of them, which is about 7.3 million, are headed by single mothers. That's a lot when it comes to how many people are in the world,
Right.
and most of them are doing it by themselves. Yeah. So like it says, 70% of the moms of that population, they feel isolated. When you are the only adult in the room, it gets hard to just survive. And how does a mother keep her heart soft enough to be a comfort to her kids when she feel like she's constantly in a battle?
For me, God, literally. I cannot stretch enough, because there were times where I feel like my heart was being hardened, but because I've had, you know, the Holy Spirit and, you know, God on my side, He was able to soften that.
Yeah.
You know, even when I had my days where I'm just annoyed and overwhelmed and everything, because I'm doing everything by myself, but also the love of my child, the love that I have for my child also helped to soften that.
Yeah.
You know, but it does get frustrating sometimes, especially when you know your other party is out there somewhere, you know, free and
just doing whatever, just doing their thing.
You know? So it gets tough sometimes, but you know, I just thank God for God.
Yeah. And when did you come to the realization of you knowing that you can lean on God? Like, what was that moment when you were like, you know, enough is enough and I need help?
So I found myself sitting in the kitchen one day on my little step, and I was crying, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. But it's when I heard God speak to me and tell me, Brittany, you have that strength. I gave it to you. And I realized, women, we do have strength that God gave us. We just have to tap into it.
Yeah.
When God speaks, you move. So that's what I did. I moved.
Yeah.
So that's what pushed me. That's what pushed me to keep going.
And like you said, like God said, He gave us the strength. And for women, I feel like He gave us a special strength, because I don't know if you ever seen videos of like the guys being hooked up to the machine thinking they can deal with period cramps or like the labor pains, and they realize it's no joke
at all.
Like God gave us a very special strength to endure those things. And a lot of times I think after going through that, like going through the process of birth and going through all these things, we forget. Like just that same strength that we needed to carry the baby 9 months every day, no breaks, and then go into labor. I remember reading like a fact about labor, and it always stuck with me. They said the closest feeling to death for a woman is to go through labor. That's the closest she will ever experience death. Wow. And I was like, because I didn't have epidural, so I felt everything. And I was like, oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. It's a lot. But like you said, God gave us that strength, and we just have to tap in it daily to be able to carry out what we need to carry out, especially for our kids.
Right.
Because we want them to see a better version of us. We don't want to see them. We don't want them to see us in a way where we're struggling, and now they have things that they have to worry about growing up. Did you have any fears like that?
So I did. I did fear the whole single mom thing, because I never pictured myself being a single mom. And it's so crazy because even being married, I was a single mom. And I know some people might say, well, you were married, how were you a single mom? Easy, because he wasn't there. So it was times, that I still had to do it from when I was pregnant to even after having my daughter. There was points that I became a single mom, even being married, and then even after the divorce, of course, really a single mom. But it's doable. It's definitely doable.
So what is one thing that you had to release to God this week just to keep your peace?
A little bit of everything. Because dealing with not just like the struggles at home, struggles at work, struggle in relationships and stuff like that. I just had to release a little bit of everything to God, because like I said, it gets overwhelming. It gets overwhelming because it's the whole multitasking type of thing, having to go to work and then come home and still go to work, with your child or children. So it's you just got to give God everything, and that's what I had to do. I had to give it to him, because I'm like, Lord, I feel like I'm about to snap.
And and we can't carry it all, like especially I feel like, just growing up in a single mom household, and I mean I was a single mom for a little bit. So I think the one thing that we don't know how to do is to let go, because we're so used to being in control of everything and making sure everything is good, that we have to allow God to remove those things and to be able to release it somewhere, because a lot of times we hold everything because we don't know what else to do with it, and we just keep it on like backpacks, and then wondering why we're so frustrated with things, or even in like parenting styles and things. Like I've seen people get frustrated just by not knowing what to do with their child, and it's just like, you gotta release it. You gotta pray about it.
And it's so crazy, because I feel like a lot of times we try to hide that part. We try to hide those emotions, especially from our kids, because you don't want your child to see you, down or crying those nights and everything. So you wait till they go to sleep. I feel like we take that and we also hide those feelings from God. So we think we're hiding it from God, but it's there. So that's why sometimes it gets hard for us to release it, because we're too busy hiding it.
So can you walk us through like a day?
Oh, absolutely. So I get up around 7:30. I leave my daughter to stay asleep because I want her to sleep a little longer. I get myself ready, take a shower, get dressed, wake her up. If I didn't already do her hair, then I'll do her hair, brush her teeth, wash her face, get her dressed, then I take her to school, then I go to work. I work, and depending on what day, I do have some 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. I'll come home, I'll cook, I'll clean. And because my daughter is kind of picky with eating, I have to make 2 meals.
Oh, God.
So I'm making 2 different meals. I'm cleaning up, and then I'm getting her ready for bed. I get her showered. You know, I get her stuff out for school for the next day. I get my stuff out for school for work the next day. And then whatever else I need to do in between. And then trying to squeeze in, like if I have, playing myself a little Bible study or whatever. I try to watch a little TV if I can, but normally I can't because it's so scattered around. Like I sit down to watch TV and I get up like, oh my God, the dishes. Or oh my God, I gotta do this. Or oh my God, there's just something. So it's just crazy. And then I go to bed. While I'm in bed, I'm on the phone, looking at the Bible app or reading the Bible. I pray, and then hopefully I finally fall asleep.
Sounds like a busy day. So when do you typically start your day? Like around what time?
Around like 7:30. Sometimes my body gets up a little earlier, so sometimes I'm up at like 6:50 or whatever, and I'll try to go back to sleep to get those extra couple minutes. But it doesn't always work.
Yeah, I understand because I feel like that too. Still, I'm like, I hate when you wake up like for your alarm.
Oh yeah,
that gets me every time. I'm like, God, I thank you for waking me up.
Yeah, right.
Like, can I get like 3 more minutes?
Yeah,
I just need a couple more minutes to get myself together. But that sounds like a very busy day.
Very.
So, do you ever like crash out? Not like crash out like but like because of being tired or exhausted or anything like that?
I do because it's a everyday thing, and then adding on, things that I joined in the church. So now I'm really busy. So I'm like, oh God. So I try to literally just get some me time in between. So I did take off this Friday. Okay. Use some of my PTO because I'm like, listen, I need some rest. Yeah.
And thank you for speaking that, because there's a lot of single moms that are guilty of doing that. So I want to dig a little bit into like you just said, self-care. It's important, especially as a single mom. You have to take those days by yourself. Yes. And I know a lot of time people experience mom guilt because it's like, if I don't have my kid, I'm a bad mom. But what can you say to someone who's dealing with that?
You're not a bad mom. At all. In order to be able to fully show up for your child, you have to show up for yourself. Yes. You have to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Yeah. You don't want to drain yourself. It's easy to drain yourself, but you don't want to do that. Don't ever feel bad, because I had to do that because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have my kid. Like, because even with this Friday me taking off, I'm gonna have my kid. Really? Yes, I'm gonna have her. But only because I didn't want to leave her in school because muffins with mom. Gotcha. And so, I didn't want to, have her there and not have, her mom. So I'm like, I just take the day with my daughter. Yeah. But yeah, never feel bad for wanting that me time, because you deserve it. Yeah. We do a lot. We do a lot as single moms. So. Yeah. Like you said, your whole day is minute by minute is counted. So literally, it's good that you have that day. And even though that you still have her with you, you can always take that time, that hour or whatever, take that time for yourself and just not be able to worry about anything, or try not to. Because I know it's like you got the list in your head. Yes. So it's kind of difficult. But speaking about that, how do you maintain your own identity as a woman of faith outside of being a mom? I would say, joining these different groups and everything, like the women's ministry and stuff like that. That's how I'm able to maintain it, because I learned to separate that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, when I'm being a part of this, women's ministry, that's me taking that time as the woman of God, doing what I'm supposed to do, and separating that from the mom time, being the mom and everything. So just being a part of different like events and stuff like that is how I balance everything and just separate those two. Okay. And the viewers, I want you to get involved. Any moms, if you have any advice about what it means to be a single mom to you, or what are some ways that you keep yourself up as a single mom, give us some tips and tricks in the comments, so that way we may help each other out, because this is a village that we want to create, especially with motherhood, because a lot of times, like I just said earlier, 70% of the women that are single mothers feel alone. They feel like they have nobody.
they feel like they can't count on anyone. So we want to start putting stuff in those comments to encourage them and to just be able to build that community today. So speaking of that, everything that you juggle, a mom, being a Christ follower, how do you stay true to Brittany and who Brittany is through all this?
All of these things is things that I love. They're things that I'm passionate about. So that is being true to myself, you know, continuously doing whatever I need to do, you know, in the ministry for God, doing what I need to do as a mother. That's being true to me because of the simple fact I've always wanted to be a mom. God knew that. God knew since I was little. I used to draw myself, you know, and my bride, and, you know, being a wife and a mom is something I always wanted. Have my kids, and my dog, the fence, you know, whatever type of house I wanted. So everything that I'm doing is, you know, is always being true to myself, you know, because it's things that I'm passionate about.
And I've always been the same way. Like, I've always been like, everyone always said that, even when I was little, they always said that I always carried like a mothering thing. I was always worried about other kids. I was always worried about, you know, are they okay? Do they need help? Even in high school, I was like, everyone used to come to me for everything, to help them with their work, to teach them, you know, different problems that they were having trouble on. So I've known that. I feel like that's one of the gifts that God given me. And a lot of people are like, oh, he gave you more gifts. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I understand, but I feel like that is something special.
For sure. Because I literally was in a child care field for over 10 years. So, and I loved my job. I loved my kids. A lot of parents I'm still, you know, connected to this day, and their kids are now like pushing 10, 12, 15, you know, so it's just crazy. I love, you know, I love children and everything, and I knew I always wanted to be, you know, a mom.
So speaking of that, where do you find yourself placed in land when you are the one providing it for everyone else?
Oh, man. I don't know. I just feel like I land where I feel like God needs me to be. I feel like that's where wherever I need to be, that's just, you know, where I land. So,
and that's good that you always have God in mind, because a lot of times we get so stressed out with life, especially, you know, having to do everything and you're the only one that's being looked at to help. And it's like, where do I get my help? And the fact that you can recognize that, like, you always go back to God no matter what. That's a very strong secret weapon that a lot of single moms need to tap into, because it helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah, he definitely lightens the burden. It does, you know, because a lot of the stuff that we do, it feels very heavy. You know. Because it's not just, you know, mental baggage, it's spiritual baggage and physical baggage. So it's
all
a lot.
types of baggage everywhere.
It's a lot.
Piles of stuff.
You know? So
and like we said, is the more that you give it to God, the more He reveals things, and the more you're able, He'll show you how to parent. I know that happened to, you know, a couple of people that I've known. They prayed and God literally showed them how to parent their kid. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, because we don't have to do it all on our own when we have a Father that knows all, that sees all.
And it's so crazy that you said that, because it took me back to when I was in the delivery room and I just had my daughter, and it literally felt like as soon as she came out, I felt that natural parent, like that natural motherly instinct or whatever, you know, it just felt natural, like, okay. And I'm like, all right, this is what God gave me, because I'm praying, I'm like, God, please, I want to be a good mom, you know, so it just naturally felt, you know.
And speaking of that sweet moment, how has your perspective on resilience changed since becoming a mother?
It changed when I realized that I am capable of doing it by myself. Because I really thought I couldn't. Because I'm like, how can I? This is my first time being a mom. You know, this is my only child. So it's like, how do I learn how to balance all these things? So I just realized that my resilience just came, you know, again from God. Like, and it just pushed me to keep going, you know, as I noticed how I was successfully doing certain things. And it's a lot of trial and error when it comes to, you know, being a mom and trying to, you know, balance everything. So it's just all a learning experience.
So the last question I want to pose to you and the viewers, don't forget, comment some stuff so we can build that motherhood community. What's one small win that keeps your spirit up this week? If you could name just one thing, whether big or small, this is your time to brag it
up. So I would say the things that's going on at work.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something called POMCA that we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's 4 levels to it. So it's like a schooling type of thing where you get your cert.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel like I'm doing something more when
Yeah.
it comes to, raising that bar for my daughter. Because
Mm-hmm.
I want her to see a mom who not just work, but takes
Yeah.
care of her education.
Right,
as well,
yeah.
because
Mhm.
it's very important.
Yeah.
So that little win of just going to those classes,
Yeah.
makes me feel.
And that's good.
something,
And just continue to stick with it. Because,
Yes.
like you said, and it's so crazy because even when my son passed away, I was in college. And I remember when I had him, I mean, all these problems, like you said, it's just the mother instinct
Mhm.
just kicked in. And I was looking at his little face and I was just like, I was crying every day. Like, I was just so emotional. Crying, just crying every day for no reason. But I remember looking at him and I said, I'm going to make a better life for you.
Mhm.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to stay in school. I'm going to I said, we're going to graduate
Mhm.
and we're going to make this life happen for us. No matter who's around. Because at the time I didn't know if his father was really going to stay around or not. So, and then fast forward to when he passed away, I wasn't in school no more. I dropped out because there was a lot going on. And my aunt looked at me, I think it was like maybe 5 or 6 months after the fact. She looked at me and she said, you made your son a promise.
Mhm.
Don't fail him now. And I was like, girl, how quick I got back into school. I got back into school real quick. And then in 2022, I graduated.
That's amazing.
And I was just like, even though he's not here, I'm like, that still shows resilience. Because even, as a mom and you're navigating your own life and then you're trying to, I remember it got real for me when I realized that, because when you're pregnant, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm having a baby. Like,
right.
But it hit me when I was like, oh snap, this is actually a human. This is a person with their own social security card. And then I started freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what I just did or why did I do this, but I'm so scared. But all those things just came to mind, and being able to have that win, like I completed my promise.
Right, because that's one thing my mom always talks to me about is education. It's very important to have all those credentials behind you and everything, because you never know. You never know. So it's already tough out here, you know, and trying to get employment without those credentials. So I mean, trades and everything, it's nothing wrong with not having it, as long as you're going into the right field. So certain fields don't require that, but the field that I'm going into, the ones that require you to have big bucks, like it requires you to have some type of credentials, under your belt. So.
And one viewer added, single mothers need a village. Surround yourselves around mothers who've been where you were. And I feel like that is absolutely 100% correct. Like I said, a lot of moms feel like they're alone. They have no one, but you have to link up with other mothers to be able to to share this walk, because it's hard doing it by yourself. And I know there's some people that help, like, hey, you got the kids this week, I got the kids next week, like we can help each other out,
right?
Like, and it's doable. It can happen. You just gotta vet some people, because some people ain't right mothering. But I mean, I believe that if you ask the Lord, He would give you exactly what you need in that moment. And if it's a friend that's a mother who's doing the same thing, He will link y'all up, and y'all will be unstoppable until He sends someone else to you. So tap into them resources. That's what we're here for. And not to be ashamed, because I know a lot of people are ashamed when they have to ask for help.
Right.
But I know it's hard, but like, how can you share some advice about, just asking for help when you're depleted and you have nothing else left?
Well, literally, so like you said, you can't be afraid to ask for help. Get that pride chip off your shoulder, because it's hard. A lot of women say, oh, I could do it by myself. Can't, because at the end of the day, God did not make for us to do it by ourselves. So I know you can't do it by yourself.
Absolutely.
It's hard. So that's why I know I'm like, listen, I thank God to have my mom and my daughter's father is starting to like really step up and everything and help out. So it's just, it's good to ask, you know, for help, because if it wasn't for my mom, then I don't know where I would be, honestly, because she has been a huge help to me when it came to my daughter.
Absolutely.
You know, so I never wanted to ask. I hated to ask, but then after a while, I'm like, listen, I got to, because I need you to watch her, because I have to,
literally,
I have to do something.
Literally, yeah.
So,
and I had a friend that went through the same thing. She was always like, oh, I feel so bad because I leave, you know, my kid with my mom like like 2 times out the week. I'm like, what about the other 5?
Right.
What about the other 5? And I mean, she's in full-time work, part-time job, in school full-time. I'm like, sister, girl, lovely.
See, and that's,
it's okay.
Right. It's okay because you're doing something productive. It's not like, you know, she dumped, you know, your child off to go party or do whatever, you know, something that's not productive. Then you definitely shouldn't be, you know, afraid to ask for help, because you're doing something that's beneficial to you and your child.
And now she's graduating, so kudos to my friend. So speaking of that, just like this post said, it takes a community, it takes a village. So one of the things that I was thinking about the roundtable and how we can incorporate that village part of it, and the one thing that came to me is people, other mothers writing letters to be able to share with us that are sitting here, and also the people on live. And it's just real people. This is real life. This is not an easy walk, like we already explained multiple times. And there's a lot of single mothers out here with the statistics and different things that we need to encourage each other in things, and not be able to and be able to build that community. So we have 2 entries today. I'm so excited. From one single mom, and then one that transitioned from being a single mom to a married mom. So she talks about her single motherhood before she got married. All right. So this is the first entry. If you want to read it to us, Brittany.
Perfect. All right. So it says, "Dear Mama, being 6.5 years into motherhood, I still question myself sometimes. When you start a family, you picture life going a certain way. You imagine support, peace, and the family you always dreamed of. Then life changes, and suddenly you're raising a child alone, wondering, this is not how it's supposed to be. Becoming a mother, a single mother, was never part of my plan, but looking back now, it became one of the greatest blessings for both me and my son. I was in a marriage where I was already doing everything alone: doctor appointments, school events, sports, morning routines, bedtime routines. I was pouring from an empty cup, trying to take care of everyone else while completely losing myself. I became angry, resentful, and honestly started to hate motherhood because I was carrying so much weight by myself. At my lowest, I found my way back to God. Through prayer and several encounters, I knew He was speaking to me about my situation. Eventually, I chose to leave my marriage and raise my son on my own. Deep down, I knew we deserved better, and I realized I was already doing it alone anyway. The first year was all about rebuilding my relationship with God and learning how to pour into myself again. The second year focused on making sure my son was emotionally okay through all the changes: therapy, co-parenting adjustments, a new sibling, and moving back into a toxic environment that reminded me how badly I wanted to break generational cycles. I prayed daily for healing, peace, stability, and a healthy home for us, and God provided. By year 3, I had my own apartment, a new car, and somehow every bill continued to get paid, even when I didn't fully understand how it was all working out. During those years, I worked 2 jobs, attended college online, and still showed up for my son every single day. There were nights I cried, nights I wanted to quit school and give up, but I couldn't. I deserved better, and I wanted my son to see perseverance firsthand. Today, I can honestly say being a single mother did not break me, it rebuilt me. I found strength I didn't know I had, deepened my faith, and created peace for myself and my child. To any other mother listening who feels lost, exhausted, or afraid, keep going. Give yourself grace. Lean on God even when you don't understand the plan. Do not lose yourself in motherhood. Ask yourself who you are outside of being a mom, and if you don't know yet, give yourself permission to find her again. Because before anything else, you are still you. Sincerely, the still growing, still choosing us mother.
Yeah, and the one thing that really stood out to that in me with that letter is you have to choose you 1st. And it's not that you're putting your kid second. It's not that any of that. But like you said, we cannot pour from an empty cup. We have to allow ourselves time to refill.
Right.
And like she said, even in her lowest moment, she found God every single time. He met her there every time. And then when she stopped worrying about being a single mom and just doing what she was supposed to, everything worked out.
Right.
And it's just, we have to take our minds off of what we see around. Because like you said, like working jobs, doing the extra, education, and don't forget, kids, you still want them to, live life and to see things, sports, all these things. You need a lot of money for sports, all these things, but yet they still get done because of that strength that God has given you. The Bible tells us that His strength works best in our weakness. We're not called to be strong. We're called to be weak so God can give us the strength that we need. It's not by our own strength, but His. So I just think that is a good, what did you get out of that letter?
So what I really liked about this is the fact that this person was not afraid to say, I was down, I was angry.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
The biggest part was she started to resent motherhood.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know some women is like, hey, it really made you feel like you don't want to be a mom anymore, so you resent your kids. No, it just gets like that sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, this is really tough.
Yeah.
But the fact that this person kept going, and didn't give up, even though they wanted to.
Yeah.
They had God and they were able to lean on Him. And I'm like, you know what? That correlates with my story too.
And even a lot of times people don't understand, as a mom, you're already facing after birth, you're already facing postpartum depression, you're facing different health problems, and people overlook those things sometimes because sometimes that depression it lasts for a little bit, and there's mothers that take their children's lives and do these things because just when they get to that point and don't know what to do or how to reach out to someone or even to get into therapy. Therapy is a big question, but I feel like, especially as a mom, if you have children, you want them to be different and breaking generational curses.
Right.
You're going to have to go and see yourself in that. So that's a big thing. And I think a lot of people don't think like that. Those generational curses, they travel.
Oh, for sure. And they are real, because I've seen things within my family and I'm like, oh no, I have to break this when it comes to my child because there's no way I want to pour that, into my relationship with my daughter. So it's definitely real.
So we have another another letter, which is the last letter. And this is from, like I said, a mom who was a single mother and then went and got married later in life. But right now we're just talking about the single mother journey. So this is her advice to you. So it says, Dear Mama, being a single mother is not easy. It comes with many challenges. Most of the time, we are dealing with insecurities, feeling tired, overwhelmed, and defeated. We can project our baggage onto our children by operating out of anger, hurt, and frustration. If you are a mother and you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, I pray that you'll get to know Him and accept Him in your heart. He is the answer. He is your salvation, and you will walk in wisdom. Being an unsaved single mother is extremely hard, all caps. That's what it says in the letter. You may find yourself in situations and circumstances that will cause more harm and dysfunction for you and your children. Having Christ makes the difference. Although life gets rough, you have Jesus. Trust Him in every situation. Go to Him for every circumstance. He will lead you. He will teach you how to love yourself and how to care for your children. Read the scripture daily. When you pray, give every word to Christ. That's how you trust Him. So she left a Bible scripture, which was Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 8. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope is the Lord. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh. But her leaf shall be green, and shall be careful in the year of drought, and neither shall cease from yielding fruit. Sincerely, the faith-driven mother. So, one thing that I want to point out in this letter is the difference between being a single mom in the world and being a single mom in Christ. Now, I have seen some things, in my walk of life. And there is definitely a difference between a single mother in the world and a single mother in Christ. Because a single mom in the world has no resources. They don't have anyone to lean back on. And a lot of times, like, I've seen even people that I grew up with, they're just repeating the same cycles. Like, I know people who are still, I grew up in the Heights. Okay. People that I grew up with, they have their kids and they live in the same apartment as a kid. And it's just like, and there's nothing wrong with, being and living in that environment. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just repeating the cycle. Like, you get stuck.
Right.
And because they have no one to tell them, like, hey, you can do better. Hey, you are better than me. Go out and do what you need to do. And they don't have that.
Right.
So it's like they just keep repeating those cycles. I've seen moms, grip their kids a little too hard. And, like, cuss at them and fuss at them, and it's just like, you don't know how much damage that you're doing to that child in that instance. Versus a mother who's walking with Christ, like was said, it's the wisdom.
Yep.
They'll teach you. He'll teach you how to be a mom. He'll teach you how to be that parent specifically for your child.
Literally.
Did anything jump out at you with this letter?
The ending part, like the very last line.
The scriptures?
No. The
sincerely the faith-driven mother?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because literally having faith is something that you need to, I'm telling you, because it definitely helps on your journey being a mom. Yeah. It does. Having that faith, being faith-driven. Like, I'm telling you, there's no easy way to do this without having faith. Yeah. You have to have faith in God, because you need to have faith in something. Yeah. Because if you don't, there's that hope. You lose all hope, and that's what happens with moms that don't have that faith. They lose hope because they have nothing to have faith in. Yeah. So.
And that's a definitely key point. And like that letter was saying, if you don't know Jesus Christ, it's okay. Listen. You can come here. We'll teach you. We'll show you who he is.
And he'll show you.
Yes, and he'll show you who he is. And even if you are so, like, in that desperation, just call out to him and he will answer. So he will do those things and he will provide for you. So you have to get to know Jesus, because he will lift all of those burdens off of you. And you'll be walking a little lighter. You'll look a little different. And you'll start speaking a little different because that he's giving you that. No matter how many kids you may have, he will give you a plan for each individual child. Yep. And my mom taught me that. That one thing I always wondered, well, how come this, that, and the third? And she told me, it's not because I love one more than the other, but God allows me to see the needs. Right. So I have to give according to your need. Yes. That's what mothers do. They see a need and they have to fill it. Even though all your needs might not be the same, but each child is different. And that's one thing she taught me. Yes. So, and I just feel like that's beautiful, because a mom is so like, mothers are so resilient, they're strong, and they're seers. Whether or not, there's a lot of times God told me to my mom. She was like, who this, who that? Like, I was like, how you do that? But like, that's how it goes. But if you tap in with the Lord, he will show you things about your kids. And there's been times where my mom shared with us, like, she's seen things and she, when she saw them, she prayed against it. So it won't harm us in any, type of way. So God will really give you the wisdom behind being a mother also. So as we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you guys with something that I just thought was so profound, especially for single mothers. It says the world looks at a single mother and sees a statistic. God looks at a single mother and sees a story. You aren't just raising children, you are raising a legacy. That part. You are raising a legacy. The numbers might say you're at risk of something, but the word says you are more than a conqueror. And speaking of more than conquerors, I have one last statistic that should lift up every single mom, and we already kind of touched base on it. Despite all the single hurdles that single mothers have to go through, their pursuit in higher education later in life improves their family mobility, right? So in fact, 33%, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. An associate's degree alone can increase a single mother's yearly salary by 33%. So like you said, it may be a little win, but it's going to blossom into something bigger, because you're putting yourself in a better predicament for your child. And like every single mom, I know a lot of people are like, well, I can't go back to school. I have like 5 kids. I have a whole job. Like I have this and the third. When am I going to be able to do it? It's going to take a lot of sleepless nights. It's going to take you trial and error things, but it's possible.
Oh, for sure. And there's different resources, you know, that can help. And then now we have like Zoom and stuff like that. So to where certain things are remote. Yeah. So stay at home. You know, if you have a lot of kids, and do it remotely. Yeah. You know, from home.
Keep them busy for an hour or two.
Right.
Don't bother me. Right. I'm gotta get my studies in. And it also shows your child that no matter what life throws at you, you can do anything that you put your mind to. Yeah, there will always be a way. And that's one thing that I even took away from my mom. No matter what happened in life, she stood tall and strong, and we all got through it together. Until help came later on in our lives. So you can do it. Don't ever take yourself out of it. You can do it. Whether you have help or you don't, you can do it. Like we said, there's resources everywhere nowadays. And I believe there's some colleges that have childcare also. You just have to look. You just have to research. You have to find, you know, what works for you. Everybody's situation is different, and just research some things. But always have the goal in mind that you want to do better for your kids, for the sake of your kids. So however it has to come out, or however you have to do it, just do it, girl. You got it. So I would like to thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for viewing and all the comments in the comment section. As we wrap up this video, I just wanted to give a couple announcements. You can join us on Sundays. We have a very busy schedule. Sunday morning Bible Ed starts at 9 a.m. Sunday morning education starts at 10 a.m. Followed by our Sunday morning worship service, which is at 11 a.m. Like I always say every week, what's the worst? You know you were invited. What's the worst? We're going to smile at you and hug you and say the Lord loves you. That's the worst possible thing that could happen. So come on and join us here at 199 North True Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08307. Come fill up a seat and allow God to fill you up from the inside and out. Because I can promise you one thing. You will feel the Lord in this place. He may wreck you, but honey, he gonna be here for you, okay? So come and join us on Sundays. Anytime. Listen, we got 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Yes. We're here. We also have a food pantry this Saturday. If you need food, or a neighbor or anything, just come on down and get some food. Like we said, we're living in perilous times. We don't really know which way is going to sway. So even if you get some cans and stack them up in the corner, do so. There's food here. We have plenty. So just come on down and come see us on Saturday. It starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. And then also, we're calling all mothers for the month of May. Come tap into our roundtable. We have 3 more topics, which is next week, we're doing the married mother. The week after, we're doing mothers who lost, whether they lost a mom or lost children. And then the last one is all about spiritual motherhood and what that looks like when you don't birth kids, but you still have to birth out their calling. So join us all month long. We have a topic waiting for you. If you have any letters, please submit them to dldsoundteam@gmail.com. We will love to read your letters and talk about it, and just to encourage one another with everybody else's motherhood. Like we said, every motherhood is different. People go through different things, and we'll love to hear your input. So we'll see you next time. See ya.